Announce the coaching moves because I'm pretty excited. Hello, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk, the live edition. Certainly have a lot to talk about this week. After on the heels of the announcement on Tuesday that the Ravens were going to apply the non-exclusive franchise tag to Lamar Jackson. Of course, a lot has been happening since that moment. So we're going to cover that and a lot more. But first and foremost, Jimbo, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I'm doing all right, but normally I would not talk about this on the show, but I'm going to talk about this on the show.
Let's hear it.
So Glenn, I think you know this guy. He's like my favorite uncle. Well, he's one of my favorite uncles. I probably shouldn't say favorite uncle. My uncle Wayne, he's awesome, big time basketball player. His dementia is advancing and getting worse. He got diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and so it's just getting really bad. It's really unfortunate. It just sucks. So the reason I'm bringing this up though is because I figured the audience might take an interest in this. One of the things I've decided to do, Glenn, you know that I run and things like that. So I have this race coming up, and one of the things I'm doing is I'm currently in the process of finding a research organization for Alzheimer's, and I'm just gonna start promoting donations to them, an organization that I can believe in and stuff like that. So if anybody's interested, once I figure out what organization is and I trust them and feel good about their research, I will let everyone know. I've decided I'm going to dedicate this one to him, but it just sucks, man. We got an email the other day and just a big time bummer. It took me to my first NBA game. It was Michael Jordan's last over 50-point game of his career. At 38 years old, dropped 51 points. One of the greatest memories of my life. And unfortunately, my uncle doesn't even know who I am right now. So it just sucks, man. So I'm doing good and I'm happy to be here. Yeah. Just kind of an unfortunate thing. But like I said, if anyone wants to come out March 25th, Glenn might even show up. DK might show up.
What day is that? A Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Okay.
It starts at 8:30 in the morning, but I'm going for a PR here. So any support that you guys want to come out, it's at Susquehanna State Park. Trying to do it in a sub 5. Okay. And we're talking about 50 kilometers. So sub 5 is flying in my like relative to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, anyone that wants to come out, feel free to come out.
I'll tell you what, State Park. When you find it, I would be happy to contribute. Since I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's, lost my uncle to Alzheimer's, lost my aunt to Alzheimer's. And so I am definitely, that's something that I've always thought about is it runs heavily in my family. And that is that's a horrible, horrible disease. And shout out to my nephew, Tyler, sending some positive energy. Who, by the way, he texted me after our last live and he assured you that main character energy is very much a compliment. That Numra was just trolling. And in fact, let's see here, because I wanted to tell you, because he gave a description of what main character energy means in his opinion. So let me just pull that up here. He says, he just said main character is a great compliment. Okay, so that's all. Just a great compliment. So
much love. Yeah, absolutely. The last thing I gotta say though about the situation before we talk Ravens, which would be more fun, is even through it all, like, you know, he forgets to eat and things like that. Now he's down to like $135. He's just real. I mean, he's a small guy. He's always been a small guy, but he's just real small. They still give you 2 dribbles.
I was gonna say, how's the jumper? How's the jumper?
It's wet.
Jumper.
So wet.
Well, that the muscle memory's still there, right?
He forgets track. He'll sit out outside for 3 hours. It's freezing outside. He's got a court in his backyard, and that's all he does all morning. Like,
there you go.
Just by himself. And he lose track of time, so he'll just sit out there and hit the jumpers, dude. It's ridiculous. So, so I'm still happy to see that. But, it's just been a tough one. Anyway, all that being said, let's get into Ravens talk. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where are we starting, Glenn?
Well, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of big news, but the place I would like to start is the Ravens have made some coaching changes. They've, I think, finished.
I know. Kind of in all the hysteria, we haven't even been able to talk about it.
Exactly. There's been so much going on, but I got pretty excited about some of these names. So I just wanted to bring these up. So wide receiver coach was T. Martin last year. He is now the quarterback coach as James Urban has moved on. So now Greg Lewis was hired as the wide receiver coach. Most recently, I believe he was with Kansas City Chiefs as their wide receiver coach. But I remember back, when he was playing. So it's Jimmy. We're getting old, man.
Oh, dude, I saw a highlight of him that game-winning touchdown for the Vikings, in the back of the end zone from Brett Favre. It was like the last play of the game.
Oh, against the Niners, right?
Yeah,
I remember when that happened.
Oh my gosh!
I'll never forget it, dude. He's rolling out, and I don't even remember I never saw the clip. I just remember when it happened because Rich, as you know, big Niner fan, was
broken heart,
devastated.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what, though, man. I just haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe I have respect for it, and I know there's a lot of stuff swirling around Brett Favre, but dude had a cannon. I mean, every ball came off of his hand on absolute fire.
No doubt. The guy, his arm was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. For people to compare Baker Mayfield to Brett Favre is just
laughable.
Yeah. Get out.
But by the way, Greg Lewis was the running
back. Back up, DK, if you want.
Yeah, DK. Greg Lewis had been with the Chiefs since 2017. He was, a combination of a running backs coach, but most recently wide receiver coach. So excited to see what he can do. Are you at all surprised? I don't want to spend a ton of time here, but are you all surprised that Keith Williams' time here was so short? Because as far as I know, unless there's another role available, everything's been filled. So,
well, wait, is he the pass game coordinator?
Last I saw, the role for him was still undetermined. So maybe he's still in their plans, but he's not the wide receiver coach. And that's why he was brought here, because his expert was teaching wide receivers. So it's a little odd.
It is odd. I am surprised. I mean, I'm surprised and not, because whatever happened, I mean, it wasn't working.
Right. And maybe he didn't like the day-to-day grind of an NFL position coach, and maybe he'd prefer to go back to being the wide receiver coach for the Stars.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can get that too. You kind of pick and choose your clients, pick and choose your hours.
Yeah.
Make some good money and work for yourself. So I can get that too. I can get behind that.
All right, but the one that's got me the most excited, Jimbo. Here we go. And Eli, we're gonna talk about that the very next.
DK, if you want
very next,
we'll bring this back up in a. Well, yeah.
But this one's got me excited here. The Ravens hired a new outside linebacker coach. His name's Chuck Smith. And the reason it's got me so excited is that Von Miller used to, work under Chuck Smith's tutelage, and basically Von Miller credits him with a lot of how he developed into a great pass rusher. And then furthermore, he's also worked with Aaron Donald, who also gives him a ton of credit for helping him as a pass rusher. So you're talking about two of the very best of all time, not currently playing, but of all time at getting to the quarterback. And I think there's no argument that Aaron Donald's the best at doing it from the interior position. So this guy apparently, gets the very best out of his pass rushers and has worked with a number of the league's very best. So if there's anyone in theory that could unlock Odafe Owe's hidden talent, or, just kind of have him realize the potential that we know his athleticism provides to him, then this is the guy that can do it. And so I'm excited because I hope he can unlock that wicked combination of Owe and Ajabo. That we know it could be strong. We just got to see it.
I hope so as well. And that I've talked about this before, that it's not one of those scenarios like in Raising Hope where the dad thought his son knew how to sing again because he accidentally hit him with a golf club and his son forgot how to sing. 20 years later, they tried to teach him how to sing again, and they just actually were drunk and realized he couldn't sing the next day when he was sober, but he was already in an audition. So, and they go like this, "We unlocked it." So I have this vision of like Odafe Owe and the Ravens coaching staff just being like, "We unlocked it."
Yeah.
So I hope they actually can unlock something here when it comes to Odafe Owe, because dude needs it. Whatever it is, look, we invested in the player, might as well invest in the coaching staff. So yeah, I like it as well. I saw some clips from him. I saw him, describing pass rushing and talking about how it's all about confusion and deception. And talking about how you can make things look the same or appear the same and actually be different, just, to allow the offensive lineman to take just 1 millisecond of hesitation and give you an advantage. And so I liked that. I'm looking forward to it. So I mean, this is another move similar to who you're talking about with Keith Williams. where they take a personal coach who's kind of doing his thing on his own, and then they hire him directly. I don't know how many other teams are doing this. We don't follow other teams as closely, but either way, I think it's pretty cool and pretty innovative by the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
No doubt. I think it's a good move, but of course, time will tell.
Yes.
And then quickly, before we move on to the pass rushers, do you find it, what's your reaction when you hear Zadarius Smith tweets out a thank you, it's been nice to be here in Minnesota, and requests his release from the Vikings, and the Vikings counter by saying, we got no plans to release him. He's still under contract. And so they're at a current standstill. How does this make you feel knowing that the Ravens were this close to signing him last offseason?
I don't understand it. I saw this too, like right before the show started, I was reading into this, and I mean, first of all, it seems like the Ravens avoided something. But I also don't.
He made a boo-boo.
And
that he's not happy there, and maybe
right.
He should have come to Baltimore.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. But the other thing that what happened, like what's happening, you know what I mean, is because they're starting to cut some vets, and he feels like they're not going to contend next year. Things like that. I don't know.
I guess, but I mean, my goodness, they gave him a bag, didn't they? I mean, a monster.
Yeah,
bag.
They absolutely did. I mean, that's the sole reason why he went there, right?
And now you're demanding release.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works with having to give back some of that signing bonus, but I can't imagine he's going to keep all of it after just one season. But yeah, interesting there. But let's move on to the news of the day. So when the Ravens decided...
Yeah, DK, you can put that super chat back up if you want.
Yep, absolutely. So when the Ravens decided to use the non-exclusive franchise tag, they went from having roughly $21 million in available cap space, or I think it was $23 million in available cap space. What was it? I can't remember exactly, but ultimately after they applied the tag, it brought them to negative $9 million against the cap, which of course they have to get to. DK, I don't know if you could help find out the date, but there's a date that they have to be under the cap by, and it's upcoming. So in response to that, knowing that they're $9 million over, they got a couple choices to help get the cap space down. And Jimbo, it looks like this was the first choice to be made. So they decided to trade Chuck Clark to the New York Football Jets in return for a 2024 7th round draft pick. So not this upcoming draft, but next year's draft, and just a 7th round pick. So Jimbo, was this anything more than a cost-cutting effort?
Yeah, I think it was, from a logistical standpoint, it was an easy decision. But from a personal standpoint, knowing that Chuck is a Raven, he was, raised here, he cut his teeth here. He's a late round pick. Eric loves those guys and doesn't take those things lightly. I firmly believe that. Nor does the coaching staff, but certainly the GM either. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a result of, the Lamar's cap hit, whatever it's going to be. And then the other things that are contributing to that, to making this to me was the easiest of the decisions, logistically speaking, is what I'm trying to say, right? Because you have Kyle Hamilton that came in as an early round pick. You can only invest so much in the secondary. Look, it would have been a luxury, but we just don't have that. We aren't able to afford ourselves that luxury at this point. Really quickly, Eli says it's sad to see Chuck go. Wish him all the best over at the Jets. Question for the gents: could we have gotten more for Chuck Clark? I don't know. I don't think there's too many times where in a trade scenario, Eric seems to have lost. You can say what you want about his drafting or his contract extensions, things like that. But look, we got Calais
for a 5th rounder.
Yeah. And we got Marcus on a 5th rounder and Kenny Young.
Right. Yep. Don't forget about Kenny.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, look, I think Eric does pretty well with the trades. I think there's more to get out there than we would have gotten it. Not that Chuck doesn't have higher value, but the thing is, teams knew we were going to cut him anyway.
Had to. So
the only thing I'm not surprised about, Glenn, is that the Giants didn't come calling.
Yeah, with Wink being there.
That is Wink's boy.
That is. But think about that Jets secondary when you add him when you add Chuck Clark, the consistency, the leadership, the communication skills. He's going to take that young, already incredibly good secondary, and I think take it to a whole nother level. And let's not forget that a lot of the organization, the GM and all the higher brass in the Jets are former Ravens front office members. So they likely evaluate players in a similar fashion. And I'm sure that they also have a relationship with some of the members of the organization here in Baltimore. And I think they probably communicated and found out that this guy is too good to pass up for just a 7th round.
Yeah. And let's not forget, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Bradley Bozeman a 7th rounder?
Was he 7? I thought he was 6.
I'll have to double check.
I think it's 5 or 6 on him. But I mean, you talk about a absolute steal for what they got out of Chuck Clark.
Yeah, you're right. 6th round.
So what they got out of Chuck Clark being, a 6th round pick, and they get, 96 games from him where he starts 63 of them. He's the signal caller on the defense, which, by the way, is going to have to change this year. I assume Roquan will take over, but it still will be a new voice that the team's hearing play in and play out. But, this is going to be a big loss, because here's what it also does is it now takes Kyle Hamilton out of a role that was so perfect that it made him the highest rated safety, according to PFF, in the entire National Football League. That role they put him in was so perfect for him that he was rated the best safety in the league. Not the best rookie, not the best, in the AFC, the best safety, point blank, period. So now we're going to see him in a more traditional safety role. I still think he'll do well. I think he's drafted to be this guy. So it makes sense to let him be that guy. But is it reasonable to think there may be at least some early season growing pains as he kind of gets a feel for safety?
Yeah, because his role is increasingly going to expand.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an inch wide, mile deep anymore. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what I feel like the scope of his role was before. We could really hone in on a couple key responsibilities, but now the kitchen sink is going to be thrown at him, right? So he's got to certainly step up. But yeah, I think he'll be able to. I think he'll do just fine.
Gotcha. And to people thinking that Chuck Clark is not a big loss,
I think from a leadership standpoint, is a huge loss.
Was he not our? He was our first or second leading tackler last year.
Yeah, I mean, if Roquan didn't show up, he would have been our leading tackler, I think, for the 2nd consecutive year.
So to act like that isn't valuable, I guess.
Now, the only thing I found laughable was there was people really asking who's going to wear the green dot. To me, that is the easiest question of the entire offseason.
It better be Roquan. He's an over communicator, right? And he's the middle linebacker.
If it's not, I mean, that's the easiest question in the world for me to answer. Of course, Roquan's going to wear the green dot. Come on, guys. He's at the traditional position for it, and he's the traditional type player for it. So, he's going to wear the green dot. I don't see that as a question. I wish the best of luck to Chuck Clark unless we have to play against him. Looks like Aaron Rodgers might be his quarterback.
They're going to be a tough team, man. They're going to be a real tough team. But I tell you what, I'm glad A-Rod's going there, because let's imagine, what if A-Rod said, you know what, I'm going to retire? Who do you think the Jets turn their attention to?
Yeah, you're wrong. So you think it's a done deal?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he goes there, and I'm thankful, because I think the Jets would have made a strong push for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. No,
had they
you're
not
right.
landed Aaron Rodgers, because they can't get Derek Carr now, so who else would they have got? They're going to go back down Zach Wilson?
Yeah, that dude's career is over. Now, I just want to talk about a couple things before we move on. Is the wide receiver market seems to be heating up a bit. Obviously, Adam Thielen was let go today, and people are already connecting it to the Ravens. There are some people who have said that us and the Cowboys are the strongest contenders for DeAndre Hopkins. There are other people that are refuting that report, so I don't know where that is, but there seem, and then even a guy like Robbie Anderson was let go by the Cardinals. I'm trying to think if there's someone that I'm forgetting, but ultimately, look, Eric talked about this. If you remember, Glenn, when he took over as the GM, he talked about the teams and him just looking around and seeing the trouble that they're in from a cap space perspective and wanting, the cool thing about the market, similar to the cap space, is like recessions suck, but if you're prepared to take advantage of the recession, like you can absolutely dominate in recession and make tons of money. Recessions suck. All I'm saying is that Eric, I think, is being smart in that I'm hoping that he's prepared and going to continue to prepare to make moves when some of this this house of cards and the inflation of some of these position groups, namely wide receivers, comes crashing down. So you think of those names. You also think of it's blanking me. I was thinking, or I'm blanking right now, but there's another name that of wide receiver. Oh, like Michael Thomas from the Saints. That they're not sure what's going to happen there. So what I'm saying is that there seems to be a bit of windfall going on right now at the wide receiver position when it comes to cutting players.
Yeah.
And it's still early.
No, it's a good point.
Barrios was another one. The
Okay.
Jets cut today.
A little speedster. I think Eric DeCosta kind of touched on that when he was asked about the receiver market, and we talked about it. Free agent market didn't look very attractive. I mean, when you're talking about Juju Smith-Schuster maybe being the prized possession, him and who's the big guy that got drafted? Oh, Shark, DJ Shark. Those are the best names. That's a scary. That's not the most attractive group unless you need a third or a fourth. But Eric said that things can change quickly with cap casualties, and he was right. I mean, these guys are looking to cut costs, and if they don't feel like that this, that big cap number really gets them that much closer to winning, then they might have to cut some corners. And the question is, can the Ravens make it work financially? Because I think they're going to add a guy in free agency, and I'm hoping that they add multiple guys, not just in free agency, but also I still am hopeful that they use one of their draft picks for a receiver. But how else can they look? They got $8 million in negative cap space right now, Jimbo. So how are they going to fit a guy like, these guys aren't going to be cheap. DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be a small cap hit.
Yeah. I think the way, the other moves you have are to add some phantom years to Calais Campbell. Right, you can do a little bit of that.
You can restructure Ronnie,
restructure Marlon.
Yep.
Get Lamar signed to an extension, because at least in 1 year, it's based on the structuring of it. I doubt that it's going to be $32 million in year one. So that comes into play as well. And I'm sure there are some other moves that initially I'm not. Oh, we talked about. I'm thinking of who's the left guard. Jeez whiz, Ben
Powers,
but that he's ultimately a free agent, so he's not on the books. But there's other moves that can be done, but those are the main ones.
I think one of them might be Gus Edwards.
Yeah, but you can extend him.
You could. Michael Pierce.
To me, Michael Pierce is an easier one than Gus. I think Gus, simple extension, and you lower the cap hit. I don't see a reason to. I mean, if they get rid of Gus, I'm gonna be heartbroken, right? Like, Gus is my guy, but I haven't seen a deterioration in his abilities. I mean, I think when he gets the football, the dude is just as efficient as
it's
he
just
was
that
before.
The question is if they look at him as more of a luxury than a need with JK and the
every team needs two backs, though.
I agree.
And I don't know if you can trust Justice Hill.
He had a good year last year. I think we all
but isn't he also a free agent?
That's true, but I bet they could get him back. A little bit less than a $6 million cap hit that currently is for Gus Edwards. At least he need to learn a new system. So I guess it wouldn't even help familiarity. It's just Quan says teams can't talk to Lamar till the 15th. My question is, which team do you think give an offer first? If Lamar do go, do guys like Humphrey leave for a ring? No, I don't think. Humphrey's not going anywhere because he's under a massive contract. So there's no way. I think I see your point. Will guys tend to like, if I'm Calais Campbell and I see Lamar Jackson's leaving, I'm probably leaving too, because I know that my best chance of winning a ring this year just left. So I think that guys like Calais Campbell, maybe Michael Pierce to some degree, if he has flexibility, they might say, I don't know if I want to spend my last year kind of scratching and clawing to maybe get a wild card spot. I want to go to a contender who's ready to knock down the door of the Super Bowl. So my whole thing, though, is, Jimbo, it gets interesting because, and again, I haven't done and DK's better at kind of parsing through all this information than I am, but I understand that it handicaps the fact that if you sign an offer, if you put an offer sheet to Lamar Jackson, you have to, you can't then go out in free agency and start spending more money, because you have to find out if this deal is going to go through. And the Ravens have 5 days until they have to either match or let you go. So you're almost held hostage for that important first week of free agency where you can't go and ask this guy if he wants to, because you're tied up into one deal. So do you think that kind of makes it even more likely the teams are going to be hesitant to sign that offer sheet because they don't want to be sitting with their hands on, sitting on their hands for the next 5 days?
For sure. I mean, absolutely. I was reading about that today and the timing of it. And so, yeah, to answer your question, who wants to hamstring themselves? For sure. I mean, look, speaking on the Lamar Jackson deal, everyone acts like this is something that hasn't happened before. And I forgot what report I was reading that was kind of talking about it, but there's only been, since the non-exclusive tag was a thing, there's only been one quarterback, I think one player. Yeah, that has gotten an offer sheet and actually left. And I think it was over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So
doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, so the more I read about it and think about it, like, it's just generally how it goes. It's just generally how it goes. But I hope that a team does engage, because I'm afraid now if no team engages, then we're right back where we were before.
Exactly. What we need is a team to sign him to a sheet that the Ravens feel good about matching and do it quickly.
Or I guess if no one engages, it's also validation that there's not a higher market than what.
But then will he take his time and go, you know what, then I'm just going to wait and see if when this guy gets hurt or if then this things change, I just,
or maybe, you know what, the other thing too, do you think it's possible, Glenn, that he just wants to be a free agent? Like, he's just forcing himself to free agency?
I mean, that's risky though. Because $200 million is what it sounds like that's very real right now. But if you go out and you have a really tough injury or a bad year, then you run the risk of, is that price, still going to be waiting for me next offseason?
Well, let me ask you this. Overall, it's been the past few days, and now we know one of the clarifications that we've gotten is that Wednesday of next week is the day that teams can start talking to Lamar Jackson. The initial reports were Monday, right, but Monday is only for free agents, the legal tampering period for free agents, right, and not for people in the scenario that Lamar is in. So with that being said, how do you feel now? We've gone since Tuesday. It's been basically 48 hours since we were on the mic last time. How do you feel now in comparison to then? Because let me tell you what, if you guys don't remember, certainly DK and I do, Glenn was about losing his mind, and he was pretty sure that Lamar Jackson was gone, that this was the beginning of the end. How do you feel now?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. I think the only way now that we don't see Lamar Jackson ultimately sign a long-term deal here is if emotions get too much involved. I mean, that if his, either if pride or if his feelings got hurt during the negotiation, if he feels disrespected by the Ravens and he'd be willing to, say, you know what, I'm going to play this last year out under this contract, and then I'm just going to hit free agency and I'm going to leave. Unless you want to slap another tag on me, then we'll talk then. But that's the only way, is if he's too pissed off, basically. But I don't think because I think it's like how you delivered it, Jimbo. I think Eric delivered it the way you did. Like, look, we respect that that's what, you think that your value is higher than this. We think that this is the best offer that's going to be available to you. So we'll do what's best. And we'll say, look, go out. You can go find, if there is a better offer, we'll likely match it. But if not, this offer's waiting for you. So I think they did it in a way where they didn't, I don't think they said, well, if you think you're worth more than that, fine, go find it. See you later.
Right.
Like, I don't think they were assholes. So I think that's the only reason he wouldn't be here, is if he was just offended.
Yeah. And I guess DK's got a good point. I think if Lamar was pissed now, you would see it on social media. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I saw the tweet, or was it a tweet? Yeah. It was talking about, I don't know what the statistical category was, if it was wins by a certain age or something of that nature that I cannot remember, but it was him. Lamar was on, it was only 5 quarterbacks, Lamar, Marino, Mahomes. I can't remember that. And he just basically tweeted out, he just said, great list or something like that. So he was just letting everyone know, like, yeah, don't forget about me. I mean, obviously no one's forgetting about Lamar.
No. Well, now you can't, because you turn on ESPN and there he is.
Yeah. And everyone is just destroying the Baltimore Ravens.
Not so much anymore. People are starting to come over.
The GMs that are the former GMs and stuff are starting to turn the corner, because they listen to guys like DK have been telling us this whole time. But what I still think like the talking heads are still pretty. And it's frustrating because I think Lamar's name is getting taken, which is normal. It's getting taken advantage of for clicks and monetization and stuff like that. And it's like,
but what else is there to talk about? You know, he's the biggest star. Him and Aaron. Wait till Aaron Rodgers' situation's resolved.
Well, let me ask you this, Glenn. I know you. I like to think I know you pretty well. In 9 out of 10, maybe more than that, but probably 9 out of 10 scenarios, I can probably guess how you would react. If you had to go to a darkness retreat 4 days, how would that go for you? It's voluntary solitary confinement with darkness, no light.
Well, if it's solitary, I'm not gonna be. Now look, I don't have a problem. I've never been a kid scared of the dark. That's never been my issue. Sure. But I don't like being alone.
Right.
You know,
how long would you last before you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home?
Yeah, not long. I mean, I'd probably wake up. Like I'd go to sleep in there. Like it's dark. We go to bed. As soon as I wake up, I'd be like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like one nap is how long I would last.
I was listening to a guy today talking about it, and he was like, I would probably try and like develop some Morse code with the person next to me.
There you go. Like what's that? Like you're in the hole, dude. You're in the solitary confinement. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you can leave. You're allowed to leave.
Yeah, right. You can just leave. Anyway, it's a big thing.
I have a feeling he was in let's just say a different state of mind during some of this.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it is absolutely there is a certain like waspy class of like people who have way too much money to where they even need to care about what they do every day that need to do stuff like this. I feel like to like still be alive, when if they want to feel like they're alive, they could just join the rest of us down in the mud.
There we go.
You know what I mean? And like just live a normal life. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they can't do that anymore. They gotta do what they gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you got enough scratch to do it and the want to, then have at it. James.
No, last thing I'll say about it, really quick. Yeah. Better on the people that are making money off these fools.
That's true. We'll give you a dark room. Give us a bunch of money.
Hey, dude, here's a prison. You want to come? This is a darkness retreat.
Dude, we should open. I could turn this into a dark room. You know?
Dude, we got some curtains. Dude, we got some special blackout curtains for my son, and they're the best. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
There you go. Come over, A-Rod. Give me a couple G's. You can sit in my spare bedroom. I'll turn the lights off.
He's just in your actual bedroom in the corner.
I'm like, you're a snore. I'm yelling down under the bed. Quit snoring. You know?
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, James Lee Wiley says teams are not going to fully guarantee him a contract and give up 2 first-rounders. $250 million would take up more than 20% of the cap. Yeah, I mean, maybe if it was, I mean, it's possible, I guess, that there's still an owner who will do it. And I think it's more possible that there was an owner who might consider it if the 2 ones weren't attached to it also. Mm-hmm. But when you kind of have the full package, it's certainly a lot to give up. But 26-year-old MVP quarterback is a lot in return that you're getting at the same time. So I can understand why it's a kind of it's a tough decision for anybody who's trying to make this call here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the only thing I would just want to add to that is I don't know if anyone saw Rich Eisen breaking this scenario down. I thought it was really good as well. He just kind of went through all the scenarios and ended up with only a select few teams that actually have a chance to make a run at Lamar Jackson. But he kept talking about this, Glenn, and we've kind of gone back and forth on whether or not this matters. He kept talking about owners that would be willing to take that chunk of cash and put it away and do nothing with it. He said Mike Davis would have to cut all his hair and sell it to pay for a guy like,
dude.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And then the Pandora's box that you open with it, and knowing that how much more money you're going to be putting in escrow in years to come, while everyone else gets guaranteed deals. The one thing I will, so here we go. Let me just see. Assad Rothman says, I want someone to make an offer for Lamar so we can match it and basically tell the rest of the NFL to F off. Ozzy's here. Man, he's not going anywhere. And I tend to agree with you. I think that's why the Ravens did it. Because they're confident that this is the best offer. And I think some of this, I get everybody has their own choice. They can make, Lamar made the decision to represent himself, him and his team, and not have a traditional agent. But I do think that this has negatively impacted Lamar Jackson. I think I have no problem with, him wanting to do his rookie deal, because this is the way I look at it. If I'm, I'm not mechanically inclined. I'm not a very handy person. but I might change my own oil to avoid the ridiculous charge that a shop would do to do it, because it's a simple task. It's something even I can handle that even not being a mechanic, mechanically inclined.
Yeah. How do you say it, Glenn? You're not built for manual labor?
No, not doing it. Not doing it. Not built for it. I ain't doing it. So, but I will do something as simple as change my oil.
Sure.
But if I need my transmission rebuilt, I'm not going to YouTube that and try and fumble my way through that. I'm going to go to an expert who will then hopefully do it in expert fashion. So I kind of compare that to Lamar's contract negotiation. That rookie deal is slotted. It's a simple negotiation to get a rookie deal because everyone knows what you're getting. There's very little, wiggle
Just
room for
language.
much. Yeah, it's very
when you
little.
get paid what?
Exactly. It's not much. So I think it's perfectly reasonable that players rip, but a deal like this is so much bigger. It's so different than a rookie deal that is virtually out of your hands anyway. So I think that he would have benefited immensely if he had an agent. The agent would have been doing tampering this, tampering that. The agent would have been back channeling every damn team in the NFL. He'd already know what the offer was. He'd already told Eric, you let him go. Guess what? I got this team. They're interested. This team, and this team. And they're all interested. And guess what they're willing to give him? I think he's losing more money by trying to keep, and it might not just be that he's trying to keep that 3%. It could be trust things and he just wants to keep everything. That's fine. But I would have just hoped he may have did a big extensive interview process to find the agent who's accredited that he trusts rather than just do this himself. I think he's losing some money on and off the field.
Hey, you want me to tell you how I would gain Lamar's trust, how I would win him over to be his agent? I feel 100% confident if I had 2 hours of Lamar Jackson, I could pitch him that I could be his agent.
This is the main character energy?
The main character energy would come out. Look, hey, I sold people religion for 2 years.
That's true. That's not easy.
No, I mean, I didn't sell it, obviously, but you understand what I'm saying, right? So if you can do that, you can do anything. But ultimately, this would be my fail safe. You ready for this, Glenn?
Yeah.
If the 2 hour pitch doesn't work, we got 30 minutes left. It's been an hour and a half. All right, Lamar, 1 game to 11, 1-on-1. Everything's on the line.
Basketball?
Let's go right now.
I think you might be able to take him. I don't know, though. He's tall, athletic.
Yeah. He's stronger than me. He's faster than me. But look, if I start with the ball, I'm just not missing.
There you go.
Not going to miss anything. He's never, because as soon as he gets the ball, it's over. I'm done.
You're toast.
Yeah.
You're toast. Over. Yeah. No, look, if we could convince him and Hollywood to do a little 2-on-2, I think we got a real shot because you're as big as Hollywood. I mean,
no, absolutely. I'm taking him to the post, baby.
I'll just lean on Lamar with my fat ass. I'll put some weight on him,
and just set some mean picks.
Oh, dude, I'm Hollywood. What's up? What's up? So we'd have a chance there. But Todd Heap says the NFL feels like a tease. You get the prom queen to go out with you. You fall in love, and then you're forced to rationalize why they are leaving you. It's just, you're right in a way, but I will say that it looks like, I like Ian Rappaport has been talking about this and
super level-headed about it.
Yeah, like people are coming out like Daniel Jones is making $40 million. This guy's only Lamar is only getting 32. That don't make sense. And he's like, well, but let's remember, if he accepted the deal offered to him by the Ravens, he'd be making way more than Daniel Jones, way more than everyone else in the league, except for the guarantees that Deshaun has. But
he said significantly more than $40 million a year.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not like the Ravens are being cheap here. They're giving him a monster offer, and he just thinks he can get more. So they're letting him see if he can.
Yeah, 100%.
It's pretty. It's kind of. It's pretty easy logic now. It just took me a little bit to absorb it.
Hey, me too, though. Look, DK was just ahead of it. He's a deep thinker. DK would do great in a darkness retreat.
Oh, did he come out? He'd be able to solve the world's hunger issues.
Right, all of it, dude. Just
like,
the hive inside that whole brain would just be, dude, his brain will have grown.
Yeah, he'll come out. Yep, exactly. Looking completely different.
What's his name? Megamind? Isn't that?
Yep, there you go. There you go.
What DK would look like by the time he came out of there.
I believe it. But I still am not willing to submit the fact that all those teams that are like the Patriots came out today, we're not interested. I don't buy that no one's going to give him an offer sheet. Like, I haven't heard from certain teams. Like, I think I mean, the Titans are a team that I would think that, the way they want to run offense.
They're in cap trouble.
Yeah, they are.
Apparently, Derrick Henry's on the block.
That could free up some space, which is just mind blowing. That guy is their organization. But yeah, I heard that they are fielding calls at least, which there's not a lot of teams I think would even value. I don't know. I tried to think about that. I thought the Broncos with Sean Payton, because they had like the Mark Ingram. They kind of had always like the Reggie Bush, Mark Ingram combination. So he could be that Mark Ingram type, which, would be nice, but expensive to get, when you want to do a 2-back system. So I think there's teams out there, and I think a team will sign him to an offer sheet. But I don't think it's one that's, I don't even know that. I think a team will offer a sheet. We will present him an offer sheet. Whether he signs it or not is really dependent on the fact that if it's better than the offer he already got from Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. And then
here we go. Look at that.
Yeah. So DK says whether an offer sheet is submitted is one big tactical step, but they will absolutely try to contact Lamar to talk. Yeah. And to add to that, I think we kind of talked about this in our group text. How many additional details will we get now as teams start to talk to Lamar Jackson? Because they don't have this vow of silence that Eric and Lamar have with one another. They don't have that.
Yeah.
And so Lamar's really opening up a can of worms here. Well, they're, opening up a can of worms here because if, obviously privacy is a really important is a really important pillar in Lamar Jackson's life and who he is as a person. So with that in mind, you can throw all that out the window. Not saying that privacy won't be maintained, but it's certainly the other teams have no need to. They don't have the inherent respect, love, concern for, the need to acquiesce to a certain extent to Lamar because he ain't our player.
No.
That's you know what I mean? Like, what do I have to keep quiet? So I think we'll get significantly more details around the figures that are involved and that are being talked about back and forth. Let's see. DK also says if he talks to more than one team, he won't be able to figure out who leaked that info. Oh,
good point.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm sure he will have more than one team. I would assume he would, but
any other dark horse names out there from the two of you? Let's see. Eli Huff says, who's left on? Yeah, there you go on the Lamar Jackson interest board? ? To go back to the original thought, though. Okay, who wants to give up two firsts? Right. And who else gets cut to get the cap in the black?
Yeah, as far as who else gets cut, I think the cut list would be possibly Michael Pierce.
Yeah.
Possibly Gus Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Calais Campbell, if they can't reach an extension to lower it massively.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even Devin Duvernay.
Maybe.
It seems crazy, but they would save $4 million in cap space by cutting him. Pat Ricard.
Yeah.
What value will he have in this new offense? We don't know. But I think the first steps are a restructuring of Ronnie and restructuring of Marlon Humphrey.
Right. 100%. I agree with you. That's where you got to start.
Yep.
You can take big chunks off the table relatively quickly to two guys that are mainstays here and love the organization, and you have a trust. You have trust with. Oh, I was going to mention this too. I thought it was a bit ironic because they spent a lot of time on the McAfee show today talking about the Lamar Jackson contract. They have been, of course, everyone has. And Dana White was asked. Dana White was asked for some reason about NFL contracts, because he was working the Brady contract apparently, and so now he's an expert. But Dana White was asked if Lamar truly needs an agent in his opinion. And he said, well, let me tell you this, getting deals like this done is all about relationships. So that's how he started it. Right. And then he said, that said, Lamar doesn't need an agent. He just needs a really good lawyer. So it almost made me laugh because what do agents and GMs have?
They're all lawyers.
No. They're
all
all
agents are most of the time.
Yeah, but my immediately what came to my mind was that they all have relationships. You don't think Eric DaCosta has 20, 30-year relationships with some of these agents? You don't think Rosenhaus has, decades plus relationships with every GM that in every organization throughout the NFL? You want to talk about relationships? That's what agents provide you. Relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want a relationship, well then here, Eric and Lamar know each other because they've been together for 4 years now, but dude, Eric's gone back to, he knows agents back when he had hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and we got to remember, everybody's acting like agents are this bad guy. What do agents, what's their whole job is to get the player the most money.
The more they get you money, the more they get paid. So it's not.
I think you guys are kind of making, some people are making him out, like agents, to be out to be the bad guy. No, it's not true. It's definitely, definitely they tend to be a benefit to the team, to the player on and off the field.
I mean, look, I've never been in this situation, but if we ever blow up and are at the point where we need an agent, it's just segregation of duties. Like you said it before, you're not a professional at it. Why you?
No,
you know, oversee it. Ultimately, it's your money and it's your decision. Any good agent will make you know that it's your decision.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my job is just to guide you and provide you with information and give you advice as you like it and get you the most money possible. Yeah. Dang, I need to figure something out here. I need to.
Dude, I could see you doing that. I could see you be walking around the combine, schmoozing with the GMs, and I could see you doing all that.
Who's this short little devil over here? Yeah, it'd be good. Be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd have to travel way too much, dude. Too much time away from the family.
Oh, like all the time, especially this time. But yeah,
I heard a really sad stat, Glenn. You want to know something?
What's that?
Apparently, by the time your kid is 18, you've spent 90% of the time that you will spend with them as a parent.
That's so sad.
So sad, right?
I don't even want to think about that, man.
Gosh. Yeah, just like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like out running instead of being with my kid. And I'm like, but I'm like, you know what? This is hopefully that I can live longer. And like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I was just like, gosh, dang, that's brutal, man. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think that, people can have, people can have their opinions on, whether he should have this, he should have that, whether he should have taken this or that. But ultimately, what I want to know from you is, Jimbo, when are we going to see a resolution? They can't talk to him till Wednesday. But are we going to see something as soon as Wednesday? Are we going to see, is this going to be something that we have to listen to for the rest of the offseason until whatever that deadline is, that final, was it June 4th or something like that? There's that hard deadline where he has to sign the tender or the franchise tag. When's this going to happen?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the way that I come to this answer, July 15th. That's a long time away. Glenn was being wishful. He was thinking wishfully with June.
It's July 15th?
July 15th.
Oh, I can't listen to this for that long.
I know, but this is what I'll say. I'll say this. My first question is, will he play under the tag?
I
don't think he plays under the tag. I think Lamar Jackson gets a deal done here with the Ravens. And I don't think he plays on the tag. So that to me is you can check that off. So as far as when it gets done, this is what I'm trying to figure out. How fast is it going to move as soon as he starts getting an offer sheet, multiple offer sheets? So two things. How fast can he move in getting an offer, right? How fast do the other teams want to move? Because they want to move fast. So that way they have their draft scenario figured out, money for free agency, all these things. So there's motivation behind the other teams to move quickly. I mean, obviously there's some motivation behind Lamar moving quickly, but not a ton. Not like the
teams.
Yeah. But ultimately I think that it's going to move fast because if Lamar wants any of those other offers, they're going to require that he answer quickly. Right. So I'm going to say end of March. There's a resolution.
Okay.
I think he gets a long-term deal done with the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. All right. Man, that would be nice. You're talking, what's today? The 9th?
Yeah.
So we're only talking like another 3 weeks, really, of having to deal with this being the only story we talk about.
Fingers crossed, dude. I know.
But yeah, I mean, this is, oh my goodness. I just can't wait. Do you think that the Aaron Rodgers situation has any play on this? Because there's certain teams that might be, well, we want Aaron first.
Well, the Jets, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
are they
think as
waiting?
more dominoes start to fall, right? Like, I mean, even the Saints, I would have said would have been in play for a Lamar Jackson, even though they're in salary cap purgatory. They could have hypothetically made some moves that put them in play for Lamar Jackson, but now you got to check them off the list. That's just one other team. And then same thing with the Jets if they get Aaron. So yeah, I think as more dominoes, even the Giants, I don't think we're ever really in the running, but it's just one other scenario in which you can say absolutely surefire no, right? Like it's not even a conversation that will be had. So, excuse me. Yeah, I think that I don't think we're in for too much longer of a haul here. Is my hope and my conclusion. I think that I feel pretty good about that.
Nice. Okay. All
DK,
right.
this is what I
Well.
really know. DK, where are you at? Give us a date when you think this happens.
Oh, by the way, I want to put can I put up something that are we going to get knocked
Where is
for?
it? Is it on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. I'm going to put this up. I'm going to
DK
share
says
this.
key thing I heard today is that after July 15th with the Ravens, he can only sign a 1-year deal. There's still a chance he could sign a 1-year deal for more than $32 million. That would be crazy. Like I could see Lamar doing it because he's that type of guy. But to me, that would be crazy because he's obviously is searching for financial security because he wants 100% guaranteed deal. I also could see him doing that though. It's not that, but that
how
would
does
be
a guy
crazy.
who wants 50+ million end up settling and playing for 32? It just
No, what
doesn't
he's saying is he
possible.
signs a 1-year deal.
Okay.
For more than 32.
So that would just be a favor the Ravens are doing for him, is what you're saying? Because why would the Ravens do that?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a nice thing.
And you just kick the can down the road.
Or you guarantee that, or you think that he won't actually play at 32. And so if you give him 40, then he'll actually suit up and come to all the offseason stuff. I guess that's
right.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just put this up here because this is what I was referring to earlier. Good. And I just want everybody, let me know if you guys hear it or if I have to make any changes. Okay.
Much has transpired since then, except for a lot of public conversation about how fair this is to Lamar Jackson, how Daniel Jones could be making more than $30 million that Jackson is making, and what are the Ravens doing by not locking up their star player? To which I would say they're trying. They are trying. They have tried a variety of different ways. They have tried deals heavy in guarantees. They have tried all sorts of ways to get Lamar Jackson to respond and to take some sort of deal that would make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Believe me, if Lamar Jackson would take the deal that the Ravens have offered, he would make far more than $40 million. But that's not where they are. So instead, he gets the non-exclusive franchise tag, which allows two things. One, perhaps he could play in the tag. That's always possible. Two, a team could step in and make sign an offer sheet for him and try to get him away from the Ravens for 2 first-round picks. Or the Ravens could say, you know what? Let's just let this world set your value and we'll match. And then that's that. And all of those things I would say are possibilities.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, he puts it out there clearly. I think that's, like you said, it's been some of the best reporting that we've seen about the Lamar scenario throughout this situation from Rap Sheet there. So, yeah, I mean, far more, Glenn, far more would be his yearly average salary. I'm interested to see if maybe Lamar, wants it to be over, 50 over. Maybe they haven't gotten there yet, but
either way, it's clearly not an unfair offer he's getting,
right?
Like to say that, look, the organization doesn't want him or they're not showing him love. They're showing him a massive amount of love. Just go ask any other player on that roster if that money would make them feel loved from the team.
Yeah,
I mean, and then Steve. I still see that people are buying into this Stephen A. $133 million. That is just crazy.
Yeah,
that's how much he was guaranteed at signing. That's not the full.
Yeah, you do nothing more.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, do nothing more but write your name on this piece of paper and you're guaranteed $133 million. You could never play another down or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this, that's a totally different scenario than total guarantees.
Yeah, like there's just no way they would be like total guarantees $130 million. That's
because you think Eric's stupid enough to even bring it to the table?
That's nonsensical. Like there's no way he would accept that, and he would get a much better deal. They would have placed the exclusive deal on him because they would have known damn, a team is definitely going to give him more than 130 million guaranteed. That it would be the most, it would be silly. So there's just absolutely no way that was the deal. 100 million less than Deshaun. No, not even close.
Yeah. DK says, I'm hoping I'm assuming, right? That Lamar set a date for himself to test the market, and he will default to the Ravens extension if it's still the best offer. Yeah. So similar to like he did last year is what you're saying, right? Like give himself till this date to like see what's out there. And if not, well, then I already know what I got at home. So I'll take that.
Yeah. And if let me ask you this, if Lamar Jackson doesn't want to be in Baltimore, wouldn't you just prefer, like, let that be known? And like if the Ravens really felt he didn't want to be here,
you give him the exclusive and then you trade him.
Like he'd already be like, that would already be known and the deal would be done. Like if they really thought he'd want to be here, they wouldn't want him here either. Look when they heard Hollywood and didn't want to be here, they did him a massive, they traded him to the team that has his best freaking friend on it. They could have traded him anywhere. They are not a mean, nasty. They traded Orlando Brown to the freaking Chiefs. They could have traded him to the shit-ass Detroit Lions if they wanted to. No, they gave him they do what's right for players most of the time. They give guys what they want. And I think if they heard Lamar didn't want to leave and he wanted to be traded, I don't think they would trade him to some shithole organization. I think they'd trade him to a place that they think would be good for him. Yeah. Because that's just what their track record is. All of a sudden, they're going to stop doing what they've always done. It just doesn't make sense. I think he wants to be here. I think they want him here. They just have a big disagreement on the money. He thinks his market is here. They think it's here, and he's not willing to budge. So that's where we're at. Like, it's not, I mean, I don't know. It's just,
yeah, I'm with you. Jimbo. It's a stressful situation, but hopefully it is resolved soon. I'm going to continue to ride with DK and hope that we hear something about a self-imposed date from Lamar Jackson. But we had an absolute blast tonight. Great turnout tonight again, over 250 the entire show. So thank you guys for coming out. All of you guys, much appreciated. To the regulars, to the new folks, to the silent observers, all you guys, thank you so much. We will be back, of course, on Tuesday, whether it's live or we put out some videos for you guys. Obviously, we'll be here. And if anything breaks between now and then, depend on us. We'll be there for you as well. But that's it for us tonight. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you.
See you.